Hi friends, today I have a very important topic that we are going to be talking about, which is the government increase in filing fees for your immigration applications. So you'll want to stay tuned. I'm going to go through some of the applications so you can actually see what those increases are. And hi, my name is Kaushik Ranchad. I'm an immigration attorney that's been practicing for over 20 years. Let's get to it. USCIS is one of the few federal agencies that almost receives most of their funding from government filing fees. In fact, the number is 96%. That's the first problem in this equation, is that Congress needs to provide funding for USCIS so it doesn't go on the back of you all having to pay these high filing fee requests. First of all, you might be asking, why does USCIS even need an increase? The filing fees should be enough, right? According to USCIS, the fee schedule from 2016 doesn't cover their costs. And the problem is that now USCIS has an increased backlog. So they're claiming that they need higher fees to cover the cost of doing business and to better avoid the accumulation of future backlogs. One thing that's unclear here, though, is there have been significant backlogs. For instance, we have I-601A waivers that are taking 43 months. J-1 waivers, total processing time has increased. So some of this is very concerning that they're still talking about not having future backlogs. They should also be decreasing existing backlogs, and that's not what they're stating in their comments. The next question is, why isn't Congress funding, or what about the money that comes in from Congress? They receive 96% of their funding from their customers, you, in the form of filing fees, not from taxpayers in the form of congressional appropriations. Now, in 2022, Congress appropriated $275 million to reduce current backlogs. What USCIS should do is continue to seek congressional support rather than rely completely on this fee increase. Now, let's talk about, how did the backlogs increase in the first place? Immigration filings decreased dramatically in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, and revenue dropped by 40%. So a lot of this was caused by COVID. A hiring freeze and workforce attrition reduced the agency's capacity to complete cases, even as incoming caseloads rebounded to pre-COVID levels. The hiring freeze was lifted in March 2021, and they are continuing to recruit. So if you need a job, you may want to consider USCIS, because they need people to reduce the crazy backlogs that you may be experiencing. Now you might be wondering, how much revenue does USCIS expect to receive? USCIS expected the previous fee schedule that's been in place since 2016 to yield an average of $3.28 billion per year. Now, under the final rule, they expect to receive an average of $4.42 billion per year. This is a 14.1% less revenue compared to their actual proposed rule. The reason is, they had a proposed rule, but many people commented on the proposed rule, so they did make some adjustments. The final rule that's going into effect removes $727 million of average annual estimated costs by transferring costs to premium processing. So you may not be too happy about this if you're filing for premium processing. And also, you'll notice when we go through some of the fee increases, H-1B fees have increased significantly as well. The final rule will generate an additional average of $1.14 billion per year in agency revenue compared with their previous fee schedule baseline. This is the amount that they feel is necessary to match agency capacity with their projected workloads, so they do not continue to increase their backlogs. The good news is, at least we're not going to have backlogs continue to increase, because what we've seen is that backlogs have increased and increased. What I'm hoping is that maybe backlogs will even come down. We'll have to see if that actually happens. So you might be wondering, when was the last time that USCIS increased fees? The previously implemented USCIS fee schedule went into effect on December 23rd, 2016. All right, now let's look at some of the core elements of this new final rule affecting the fees. For individual filers, the final rule limits newly established fees to no more than an increase in the consumer price index since 2016, which is 26%. The final fee rule holds fee increases to a low level for naturalization and adoption applications, and the final fee rule mitigates higher fees for employer filers by special discounts for nonprofits and small employers. That is one positive impact that I see here, that some of these multinational companies, they're paying bigger fees, and small employers are not getting hit as hard with some of the increases because the H-1B filing fees have increased significantly, especially for multinational companies or bigger employers, not small employers. The final fee rule also codifies existing fee waiver eligibility for low-income and vulnerable population and expands fee exemptions for certain humanitarian and other beneficiaries. And I am going to get to the filing fees, what some of those increases are, so make sure you stay till the end to get those highlights if you're interested in wondering, well, how much are they actually increasing? We'll go over a lot of the applications and how much they're increasing. Now, USCIS did come up with a proposed rule, and there were some changes that occurred from the final rule, so you might be wondering, what are those changes? How did those actually change? They published a notice of proposed rulemaking in January 2023. They received over 5,400 unique public comments. So you'll see here that they did make some changes. Let's look at what those changes are. They expanded fee exemptions for special immigrant juveniles, victims of human trafficking, T visas, U visas, and domestic violence, VAWA. They provided special fee discounts for nonprofits and small employers. They allow half-price employment authorization document applications for applicants for adjustment of status and reduced fee for adjustment of status applicants under the age of 14. And they expand eligibility for reduced fee naturalization applications who can demonstrate household income between 150 and 400%. I have to compliment USCIS on that point, allowing more people to have access to obtaining citizenship. That's important. We need people to be able to continue to live their version of the American dream by becoming a U.S. citizen and then eventually being able to vote. Expanding fee exemptions for certain USCIS processes for adoptions, including a second extension, a second change in country, and a duplicate approval notice request. All right, you might be thinking that's great, but what additional changes are there in the final rule? They've incorporated biometric service costs into the main benefit fee and removing the separate biometric service fee in most cases. They have eliminated a $30 return check fee. Thank God. That return check fee I know is very annoying. They require separate filing fees for 485, Form I-131, and Form I-765, whether or not they're filed together. They're establishing separate fees for Form I-129. They're revising the premium processing timeframe interpretation from calendar days to business days, and they're clarifying that USCIS will not redeposit the payments returned as unpayable for a reason other than insufficient funds. They're also providing fee exemptions for adoptees filing applications for certificates of citizenship and naturalization based on adoption. And they're also stating that fees paid to USCIS using a credit card are not subject to dispute, chargeback, or return to the cardholder for any reason. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty. I'm talking about, what does this mean to your wallet? How much are the filing fees going to actually increase? Let's take a look. With the I-90 with biometric services, the current fee is $540 and the final fee is $465. So here's some positive news. The fee is actually going down. Let's take a look. The I-12 application for replacement of initial non-immigrant arrival departure document. This is basically a form where if you don't have proof of entry and you want to try to obtain proof of entry, try to get a replacement I-94, let's look at how much the fee increase is for this. $445 is the current fee, $560 for the final fee, an increase of 26%. Now, H-1Bs, the current fee is $460, it's going up $780. $320, that's over a 70% increase. I don't think that this is necessarily a good move on USCIS's part because we want to promote employment where there's a need, and this is a discouraging factor. Employers are employing H-1B people when they need to have an employee that they typically, in my experience, cannot find in the US workforce, and that's why they're going to look at H-1Bs. Now, the good news is if you're a small employer or nonprofit, there's no increase. $460 stays the same. I-129 H-2B with named beneficiaries, it's going up from $460 to $620. If you are a small employer or nonprofit, it's going up $80 from $460 to $540. I-129 L non-immigrants are going from $460 to $925, a 201% increase. Now for small employers, it's going from $460 to $695, 235 increase. And I-129 for O's are going up from $460 to $1,055, a 595 increase. But for small employers and nonprofits, it's going from $460 to $530, a $70 increase. Now, let's look at fiancé visas. Fiancé visas are going from $535 to $675, a 140 increase. I-131 application for travel document, that's gone from $575 to $630, a 55 increase. I-140s are going from $700 to $715, a $15 increase. I-2112 application for permission to reapply for admission into the U.S. after deportation or removal is going from $930 to $1175. That's a $245 increase, so that is a bit high. To appeal, I-290B, $675 to $800, $125 increase. I-360's petition for a widower or special immigrant is going from $435 to $515, an $80 increase. I-485 is going to $1140 to $1440, a $300 increase. Now with biometric services, it's going from $1225 to $1440, a $215 increase. To me, this is disappointing. The fees are already very high. If you're filing for a green card, to increase it even more doesn't seem that it is fair, but it is what it is. I-539 going from $375 to $420, a $50 increase. I-539 going from $370 to $470, a $100 increase. When I'm talking about the increases here, I'm specifically just focusing on paper filings. I'm not talking about online filings. I-601s are going from $930 to $1,050. I-601As are going from $630 to $795. The I-601A is also going from $715 to $795. And the I-612, if you're applying for a J1 waiver, is going up from $930 to $1,100. I-751s, that's when you need to remove the conditions on your green card. That's going from $595 to $750, a $155 increase. With biometrics, it's going to $680 to $750. And work authorizations are going from $410 to $520, $110. That's a 27% increase. I-824's application for action to an approved application or petition is going from $460 to $590, a $125 increase. Now, the one that I'm going to mention now is one of the big increases, but it's also for individuals who have the ability to pay as well. So that's probably why USCIS increased it so much. So without further ado, let's get into it. I-829 petition by investor to remove conditions. That's $3,835 currently, going up to $9,525, a $5,690 increase, 148% increase. N400, $725, and that's with biometrics, going down to $710. That's a positive here. N400s with biometrics, $725 going to $760, $35. N400s with a household income between 150 and 400% is going from $320 to $380, a $60 increase. And with biometrics, it's going from $405 to $380. It's actually going down by $25. N600s with certificate of citizenship is going from $1170 to $1385, $215 increase. H-1B registration fee, they're significantly increasing it. It's normally $10 going to $205. So that is a summary of some of the most popular cases with the filing fees. I hope this was useful to you. Please let me know if this was helpful in the comments below. It helps us, and you can also smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe because I want to continue to give you updates so you stay informed. And by bettering yourself, you're bettering your family. And by bettering your family, you're bettering the world. Bye for now.